deadliest single twister to hit the United States in 60 years. But Joplin is not the only community reeling with devastation this morning. Almost every home in Redding, Kansas was damaged by tornadoes on Saturday, and there are concerns that the 275 people who live there won't qualify for federal aid. Rita Jackson owns the Miracle Cafe, the only restaurant in Redding. It was destroyed.
We'll get it cleaned up. We'll get it back. If the building's gone, then I'll rebuild.
The restaurant is called the Miracle Restaurant. Kansas Senator Jerry Moran just toured the damage yesterday. He joins us from our nation's capital. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you.
How bad is it?
I've been through lots of tornadoes as a member of Congress, including Greensburg of several years ago that destroyed the entire town. So much of, and it's not a useful thing to compare disasters. If your home, your business, your life was destroyed or disrupted, it's a real tornado, whatever the magnitude is of however it's described on the scale. And what you see in Redding is very much similar to what you see in what we saw in Greensburg, what you see in Joplin, just for a small town. And a town of 250, 60, 70 people, they have their own challenges before a storm like this. And you saw the story of the cafe. That's a real struggle for most small towns to even have a cafe anymore. And so these storms are especially damaging in that circumstance.
And Senator, it not only destroyed the cafe, the town only had one bank, only had one grocery store, only had one gas station, all gone.
That's right. The post office, the church, the school, these are small towns that dot our state. And all those things are very important. And, you know, you worry about whether or not there's a cafe in town, a grocery store in town. Kansas is going through a lot of school consolidation. And so now the community is wondering, is their school next? It's trying to keep the basic services together to keep a small town alive and well. But as you heard from the owner of the Miracle Cafe, they're going to do everything they can to make sure their community has a future. And that's very typical of rural Kansans, Americans, which is, this is our hometown. We love living here, and we're going to do everything to make certain that our home is here today, and it's here for our kids in the future.
And, Senator, those folks out there are going to wind up getting much-needed money from the federal government, aren't they?
Well, I think the assessment is ongoing right now. I do think that there's a bias in the FEMA formula. You can have lots of damage in a small area in a small town, and it doesn't reach the magnitude to reach the threshold in which FEMA applies. What I would expect is there's a chance for individual aid to help people who've lost their homes, and a greater chance for public aid to help rebuild the buildings. That's a 75% federal match to build the school, for example, or City Hall.
Sure.
And so there's certainly that opportunity. We'll work very closely with Governor Brownback, state officials, to make sure that at every opportunity the FEMA assistance is available.
Well, it ought to be, because those people certainly need it out there. Senator Jerry Moran, we thank you very much for joining us today to tell us about your tour yesterday there in Redding, Kansas. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next up on the rundown, a well-known TV producer who says the Republican race